Very energetic little Jack there. Cordelia, thank you very much. Joining me in the studio is David Holmes, the Chief Executive of the British Association of Adoption and Fostering. Good morning to you. Why has the number of people who want to adopt fallen?
Well, we've seen a reduction in the number of adoptions, although I have to say that compared with, say, 5 years ago, more people are adopting than at that time. But there may be a variety of reasons. Partly it may be just due to the fact that there is something called special guardianship now, which is an alternative to adoption that's only existed for about the last 15 months. Partly it may be that people still believe that there are real blanket bans about who can adopt and who can't. And partly it may just be that a few years ago there was a very, very strong emphasis on adoption, a real concentration of minds, and maybe time has just moved on a bit.
It's just gone off. Let's address that one issue that you mentioned there then about blanket bans. I mean, people do think that if you're over 40 you can't, if you've got financial, you know, if you haven't got financial stability you can't, if you haven't got your own home you can't. Yeah. Tell me, what are the rules?
Let me be absolutely clear, there are no blanket bans. The only rule is that you have to be over 21 to adopt. But, you know, it doesn't matter if you're married or unmarried, if you're gay or straight, if you own a house or you don't, whether you've got a job or you haven't. What matters is that you can parent a child. Of course, there are lots of procedures in place. There's a very stringent assessment process, but there aren't blanket bans.
You see, when we see the Foreign Secretary, David Miliband, and his wife, she is American, going over to America to adopt, people point out that it is easier to adopt over there, or it seems easier to adopt over there.
Well, I'm not sure how helpful it is always to compare different countries. There are rules and procedures in America as well. In America, we often think about very tiny babies being adopted, and indeed some babies are adopted in England too. But we also think of adoption very broadly here, and so we think of adoption for older children, for children who are in large sibling groups, for children with disabilities, and often the challenge we really face is to find people who want to come forward specifically to adopt those children.
What about adopting the American system, though, where you actually adopt from the womb, as it were, where you actually even meet the person who is going to give away their baby, and you actually get to know them and that sort of thing? Is that not an option?
Well, certainly in England there are cases of very tiny babies being placed for adoption immediately following birth, or certainly very soon after birth, because we may know in advance of birth that there are going to be some problems. And there is lots of experience in this country too of placing babies, and of course we want to act quickly where babies are concerned. But as I said, also there is this larger group of children too. And also in England, I think we're governed by our Children Act, which is very much about trying to keep families together wherever we possibly can.
I know we're talking to you throughout the morning. David Holmes, thank you very much. That number up on the screens at the moment, 020 7580 5005. And we've got everything you need to know about adoption on the website gm.tv. Thanks.